Hello, trading is closed on September 22nd, 2025. As always, we'll start with our disclaimer. We'll go over our calls and then make our predictions. It's my trading plan for Tuesday. Tuesday is the 23rd of September, 2025. Please remember, at this point, it's just a plan. I can change it, and I can be completely wrong, too. So trade at your own risk. Look for the pattern with the early low, which is this. Tomorrow also has the early low. It is good rally, but this close was under the midday high. If that's maintained, it's a negative pattern, but there's also a target which should print if we don't gap up, and that target, 6690.75, is only 3 handles under where we close. So I don't know if that's enough to call a reversal yet, but these are both negative signs, and they say if we don't gap up, we'll print at least 3 points lower. 3 points isn't worth talking about, but let's look at some other things. MEJT said this rally was false, wouldn't stick, said this drop was false, wouldn't stick. Now says this is false, it won't stick, gives us the target. We're in the middle of printing bar 12 of the combo sell signal on the weekly chart. The pattern doesn't have to go to completion at 13 bars, and the 13th bar doesn't have to obey all the rules. So even if we never go higher than this, at least by this standard, it meets some of its criteria, even though we would be calling it a little bit early, which makes me a bit leery, but doesn't break any rules. Well, here's what we said. We said I wasn't a fan of counter-trend trades. We gave a whole bunch of timing indicators that came in today. And even though I don't like counter-trend trades, I said if we rally to 6,700 or so, we can explain the reversal, have a reasonable stop if you wanted to trade it. But we traded right to the number. I mean, we came within 1.12 points. The high was 66.98.88. So as far as time goes, time doesn't change. We have the time other people call. Within about one handle, we have the point that we have a price that I thought was a reasonable price. This was the chart we showed. We hit right there, got this trend line. You've got enough to satisfy the DeMark TD line break for the first time. We showed this chart. The fibs actually work, even though I'm not thrilled with the count. It's a valid count. I mean, we have the time we talked about, we have the price we talked about. You've got a start of a reversal right from the price. You have a lower target. I mean, this whole thing could blow up in my face tomorrow if we gap up here. But if you're going to try to step in front of this, at least you got a reasonable stop here. We shouldn't go too much over these highs if this is right. And we're not going to know that until tomorrow, but so far it's going according to plan. I said if we didn't go to 6,700 or so, I didn't have a call. We went right to that price, so who knows? Maybe it'll work. Today's pattern has a really low regardless of where we open. It's a lower target. If we don't gap up smartly, the rules call for it to print. We hit a high within 1.12 points of our 6,700 or so target, or so you could argue we hit it on the nose. Then we reversed. If the high holds, the elements of time and price we discussed in the last video make this a candidate for a top. I mean, so far it's working. Let's see what happens tomorrow. If we start dropping from here, it could be a sizable drop, but that hasn't happened yet, and it's possible to be fooled on these things. I'm not a fan of counter-trend trades, but if you want a logical place to step in front of this with a reasonable stop, here it is. It's the pattern with the early low. There is a lower target. Bulls really need to gap over this, and futures are down, so it's a calculated risk, but that's today's call.